Hello there, kia ora, and welcome to this week's The News. Health Minister Simeon Brown, seen here trying his best not to follow up a press member's comment of "mana mana" with "do-do-de-do-do," has told medical professionals they need to stop commenting publicly on issues like healthy eating and advocating for healthier lifestyles without sign-off from the ministry itself. When asked for a follow-up comment, Brown went on to say, as a government that rolled back New Zealand's smoke-free laws and increased the risks of road deaths with higher speed limits, we can't see how doctors would possibly know more about people's health than the expert lobbyists we already work with. Acting Prime Minister David Seymour, seen here doing his Kermit the Frog impression, has backed up Minister Brown's edict on medical professionals, publicly commenting, saying it's about time we put those Muppets back in their box. Said a spokesperson for the Medical Council, "I think they're worried that people will start to raise the curtain, think it's time to light those lights. They think it's time to show what the ACT Party's up to tonight." Statistics New Zealand's latest economic data show that the country has just left the worst recession on record since the early 90s with a 0.7% growth measurement in the last quarter. While the economy is still smaller than it was a year ago, the number of children living in poverty has increased, the number of people on benefits has increased, the number of people dealing with homelessness has increased, the increased costs of living, including transportation costs, power, food, rents, and rates, helped see an increase in spending, which led to the very small rise in GDP. Said Nicola Willis, seen here mimicking data from Star Trek when he was confused about how humans work, "We said we'd focus on the cost of living, and you clearly see that our work has paid off for shareholders everywhere." A new Ipsos-issued monitor poll released on Friday gave the coalition the lowest rating seen since the report began in 2017. The poll asks respondents about the issues that they feel are most important to them about the country and which parties they feel are best suited to fix them. And the current poll saw Labour being seen as the most well-positioned to deal with 15 of the top 20 issues as identified by respondents. The Greens also were seen to be the top of a number of issues, as was Te Pāti Māori. Said Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, seen here annoyed that it was a different Air New Zealand CEO who secured the Memorandum of Understanding with Indian Airlines to plan direct flights by 2028, and not him. "Look, what I'm saying to you is we may have slashed and burned the country and sold our soul with the coalition agreements, but we can all agree that at least people still believe we're good with the economy, no matter the evidence to the contrary." The Defence Force has announced further civilian restructuring with the expected loss of almost 400 roles. While the Prime Minister said that these matters are operational for the force, a spokesperson for the civilian support workers said, "Hey, look, I'm sorry, I don't have time to comment because these budget changes to pay for those landlord tax breaks and tobacco company kickbacks means that I'm doing the work of 4 people right now." Waka Kotahi has agreed to open public feedback on 16 stretches of highway that pass through urban areas on the automatic speed limit changes that the government directed them to increase after overwhelming responses from the impacted communities. The automatic speed increases were an ideological choice instigated by the government after years of research, public consultation, and expert advice saw many lowered for public safety. Said a spokesperson for Waka Kotahi, "We are stuck in the middle here. We want to keep people alive, but the government has other priorities. But at least we're not like councils, who have been told that they have to make the same decisions based on the same lack of evidence from the government, and they just want to keep the communities safe. And their impacts are potentially far wider because of the urban area speed increases. But legally, they're not allowed to even reconsider the changes." Former TVNZ presenter Samantha Bailey, seen here reacting to finding out that you didn't wash your hands after going to the bathroom because she believes viruses aren't real, was struck off the medical register this week and ordered to pay $148,000 in legal costs for a lengthy legal battle to allow her to spread COVID disinformation that went all the way to the High Court. According to the ruling, the Medical Code of Ethics means limitations on the right to free speech in a professional capacity if not presented in a well-rounded and balanced way. They found Bailey had breached that rule. Said Health Minister Simeon Brown, "What's her number? We might have a job for someone with her skills." Western Bay of Plenty District Council has this week quit Local Government New Zealand. Claims during the debate were made that LGNZ had swung far left, that were made by far-right councillor Margaret Murray Benge. Benge went on to say, "Sure, I may stand side by side with my partner Don Brash in Hobson's Pledge, but that definitely makes everything I don't like far left and probably woke, and I can't stand for that." Taranaki Region Council has been struggling to form an apology to locals, especially Māori, after right-wing councillors who have spent over 40 years putting together submissions to government decided that the council wasn't a political body that should be involved in policy direction, and therefore closed off public consultation on a bill submission on the Treaty Principles Bill. The entire situation was made worse when the chair of the council, Craig Williamson, seen here chillaxing with some mates, was unable to deliver an apology after those same councillors debated so long about his speaking slot he missed a chance to make an apology. Said a spokesperson for the right-wing councillors, "We absolutely believe in healthy discussion around issues, as long as it's from the small group of people who actually take an interest in what we do and agree with our antiquated perspectives." US President Donald Trump, seen here in the naughty corner waiting for his diaper to be changed, today signed an executive order calling for the elimination of the US Education Department, which he did in front of a mock classroom full of students because of what he calls the pollution of liberal ideology. Said New Zealand's Education Minister Erica Stanford, seen here waiting to see if the cup of tea that you've got in your hand leads to the sunken place, "We're not looking to follow suit, but we can see by how many people actually voted for and support the coalition government that we don't really need to worry about education levels here. They're already low enough." And finally, Far North District Mayor Moko Te Pānea, seen here learning that he could make it as a model if the whole mayor thing doesn't work out, has announced a new policy to combat an exponential rise in online racism on their social media pages. Te Pānea noted that when funding rounds for Matariki events came up, the number of anonymous racist troll accounts making racist comments increases exponentially, despite the same funding rounds also being available for other public celebrations like Easter or Christmas. The approach? Delete their comments and block their profiles. Said Te Pānea, "Free speech is a right we all share, but that doesn't mean you're guaranteed an ability to use our profile to say what you want." He also pointed out that the hardline approach has seen a massive increase in positive online interactions with people being much more vocal in their support for diverse groups within the region. Said spokesperson for New Zealand's mainstream media, "Wait, we can block them? I thought we were meant to make them top fans and platform everything they said. This could be game-changing if we didn't need the engagement metrics to sell to advertisers." Again, thank you all for the support this week. I'm Paul, and that's been this week's The News. Hey, thanks for checking out today's video. Make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get more updates as we go along. We deal with these guys for the rest of the year.